Hi to all my entrepreneurs. Thank you again for joining us for the Purpose Driven Entrepreneur Conference. I am Michelle O'Connor, your business growth coach. And, we have been talking to a number of experts about how it is that you can discover proven strategies to achieve your goals so that you can turn your passion into profit and achieve breakthrough to success. And I know a lot of us define success differently. And that is why we have different experts on with different experience. They have succeeded in these areas to come and talk to you about how you can move to the next level with this passion and purpose that you have burning deep within inside you, right? And today we have with us Dr. Camila Williams, and she will be talking to us about perfectionism and business. And I know a lot of us go through that. We don't want to move on until things are right. And why I'm happy that she's here is because sometimes we don't understand how the body is programmed, and that if we know how the body is programmed, then we can reprogram it. We have the power to do that, right? Because we control our mind. And she's a mindset expert and a certified psychologist. So we're happy to have her. So just before we jump in a little bit about her, Dr. Camila Williams is a mindset expert, certified psychologist, and a cognitive behavioral specialist who has specialized in the field of perfectionism. So she knows what she's talking about. Anxiety. So many of us have anxiety when we're going after something new. And as an entrepreneur, I can also relate. Not everything we're all excited about, right? Stress management, and she's been doing this also for over 10 years. As a perfectionist in recovery, a mother of three, she understands only too well the delicate balance between the strive for excellence and crippling self-doubt. Working with her, high achievers learn how to break the shackles of self-doubt, limiting beliefs, the procrastination to truly live into their gifts and drive without always second guessing themselves. And so many of us do that. We second guess ourselves, and we will drop Dr. Camilla's contact details below just after the interview. So Dr. Camilla, thank you so much for coming on to talk to our entrepreneurs about this thing of procrastination. We're really, really happy to have you.
Thank you so much for having me here, Michelle. I'm so excited to talk to you guys today.
Awesome. So we're going to jump right in.
Mhm.
How do you define perfectionism?
So, my favorite definition actually comes from Brene Brown, and she talks about perfectionism as the belief that if I act perfectly, I can avoid being blamed, shamed, or judged. And it comes out in, I categorize it into kind of three kinds of behaviors that if I overcompensate, right, I can avoid being blamed, shamed, or judged by others. If I withdraw and hide and play small, I can avoid that. And for some people, they end up being very critical. They're critical of themselves, they're critical of everything around them. It's that idea like, well, if I kind of lash out, it deflects some of the attention from me, and I can avoid being blamed, shamed, and judged.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times people think perfectionists have it all together. Like, oh, they've are organized and they've got everything perfectly. But usually perfectionists, I kind of call them, they're burning the candle at both ends. And they are just so stressed out and overwhelmed because they're trying to do everything perfectly.
I love that. I love that definition and that clarification, even for myself. They're trying, the analogy that you just gave, they're burning at each end. So they're trying to do so much. And then that leads to stress and burnt out. So why do you think entrepreneurs focus so much on being perfect?
Yeah. So I well, the way I see it show up in business and entrepreneurship is perfectionism is about control. Okay? And I'd like to talk about the three things that we're trying to control. We're trying to control how other people see us. Right? We're trying to control the outcomes, how things turn out. And we're trying to control how we feel. So the way this shows up in business, controlling how others see us, this is where people end up doing a lot of those overcompensating behaviors. I am going to spend 7 hours editing the copywriting on my website because it has to be perfect. Because if my client sees a spelling error, they're going to think I'm stupid and I don't know what I'm doing, and they're never going to want to work with me, right? So you spend all this time. I'm going to do like, I need to plan every single detail of the funnel. I've got to have all the landing pages just right. I've got to have all the emails set up just right. Like, and you haven't even talked to your niche clients yet to see if they're even interested in what you're going to send out. The other thing I see here too is I call it collecting gold stars. And so in school, when we were little, if we did really well, the teacher would give us a gold star on our assignment. And I see this in business, or this idea of like, if I can collect as many gold stars as possible, people are going to know that I am good. I do know what I'm doing. And the way this shows up is you keep taking trainings and certifications and workshops. I can't write an email series until I take a training on email series. I can't do the funnel until I take a training on funnel. I can't, do Facebook ads until I do a training on Facebook ads. And so you're collecting all these trainings, all these gold stars to kind of prove that I do know what I'm doing, but you're just delaying, you're procrastinating, you're not taking the action that's actually going to move your business forward. For the controlling outcomes, there's a lot of procrastination that happens here. So basically it's, if I have all my ducks lined up in a row and I know how things are going to turn out, then it'll be okay to go ahead and do it. And I always joke around with my clients, like, have you ever seen a mother duck get her ducks in a row? Well, how does she do it? Does she line them all up first? Like, no, she just starts walking and then they fall in line. That's kind of what it's like in business. A lot of times you just have to start moving and then the pieces fall into place as you go along. But for the perfectionist, it's so much of like, no, I need to know exactly how things are going to turn out and what I need to do. And I have to have everything in order. And now I'm already spinning in anxiety. And that leads us to that third piece, controlling how we feel. I feel stressed. I feel overwhelmed. I feel scared. There's a lot of fear of failure here. And so this is why a lot of perfectionists end up being procrastinators. All of this is creating anxiety, so I'm going to put it off. And that right now I feel a little bit of relief because I put it off. I'll deal with it later. So it's a way to manage my own stress and my own anxiety. Both of these things with controlling how others see us and trying to control how we feel. If you guys have heard of imposter syndrome, right? Yeah. I'm afraid that everybody's going to find out that I don't know what I'm doing. And so I'm going to try to put up these shields to protect myself so that they don't know that I'm an imposter, right? That fear that if people see me for who I really am, they're not going to want to work with me. They're going to reject me. They're going to criticize my business and what I do. And so a lot of times we will procrastinate because we're so afraid of putting ourselves out there and taking those steps. And that stress that comes from it, that fear of failure, we are afraid. And this is something that most perfectionists do. My self-worth is tied to my ability to achieve. So I'm afraid if I fail, it means something about me. It means that I really am not good enough. So we're so afraid to get it wrong and to fail, because for a perfectionist, it doesn't mean, oh, well, that didn't work. Let me just try again. For a perfectionist, it means I'm not good enough. I don't know what I'm doing. So all those blocks end up becoming these mindset blocks that stop people, and you end up spinning in confusion and procrastination and second guessing.
Wow. Camila, if we were to end this interview right now, you have given us so much, and I can relate, whether on a personal level or even for persons that I know who have also experienced this. So, when you talk about collecting the gold stars, that is so true, because it's almost like that's what we've been taught. You don't do something until you know what you're doing. You don't do something until you're sure of the next steps. And this is what leads to failure to launch. And these are the entrepreneurs that we're talking to, because we're talking to entrepreneurs who feel stuck, especially in a time of pandemic. They don't know what the next step is. They don't know if they try this new thing, if it's going to work. And we're saying to all of us, including me, it is okay. Many of us don't know if things are going to work, but we just put one foot in front of the other. And if it doesn't work, we regroup. So, I'm hearing that, and you talk about perfectionism and it's linked to procrastination. I hope you entrepreneurs are hearing that, because we think we put off because we just want to put off. But no, we put off because we want things to be perfect. And no matter how much you plan, You can't you are not your results, and you may not be able to control the outcome, because there might be other things that you never thought of or you never knew would happen. It's almost like with the weather. You get the report that we're going to have bright sun, and you go out and it starts to rain, right? What do? You just work with it. So I absolutely love that, and I love about the ducks in a row. As a mother, you just go and you just lead. And when you gave that example, I thought of just even parenting.
Mhm.
We don't know some of the things our kids are going to need. But guess what? If you don't know, you figure it out. You get an expert to help you, get a mentor, you get a coach, and you figure it out. So I'm absolutely loving that. And, seeing that we know, so you've given us like what are some of the impacts and how it is that perfectionism impact our business. Are there any tactics that as entrepreneurs, we can use to move us along if we're stuck in trying to be perfect?
Yes. So one of my favorite is just a little mantra, a little sentence that I tell everyone, like, just ask yourself this, remind yourself this. It's, I don't have to do anything. I'm choosing to, then you fill in the blank. Because a lot of times for the perfectionist, I have to. I have to do all the copy editing. I have to do all the planning. I have to read everything. I have to stay up all night working on this. I have to get it perfect before I can send it. It's all these I have tos. And when we're stuck in the I have to mindset, it kind of puts us in a bit of the victim role. Like we're not in control. Everything is happening to us and everyone's telling us all the things we have to do. If you switch to no, I'm choosing to. I am choosing to spend 8 hours on this email because, and you're like, wait, why am I choosing to spend 8 hours on this email? It really forces you to get centered with your values. That's why I love like purpose-driven entrepreneurs. Like, what are my values? Why am I doing this? And whenever you're really faced with like, I am choosing to sit on this funnel launch for 4 weeks because why am I choosing to do that? What is really going on here? And when you get to the place, no, I am choosing to launch it, even if it's a little bit messy, because I know someone out there needs to hear my message and I want to help them. That gives you that power and that control to just kind of move forward in action. So that's like my favorite phrase. And you mentioned parenting. I will use this a lot with parenting. Right? It's like, oh my gosh, I have to make dinner again. You kids, you eat every day. I have to make dinner again. Are you kidding me? And I told one of my clients, like, no, you don't. You don't have to make dinner. She's like, no, I do. I have to. I'm the mom. I'm like, no, you don't. You don't have to make dinner. What would happen if you did not make dinner? She's like, they would probably raid the pantry and eat dry cereal. I'm like, see, you don't have to. And we got to, you're choosing to, why are you choosing to? She's like, no, I'm choosing to make dinner because I value showing up for my kids that way. And it's a very slight shift, but it puts you in a place of control and empowerment. So I love to remind people, just write that little sentence at the top of your notebook or your planner, and always remind yourself whenever you're spinning your wheels or procrastinating and you're telling yourself you have to do all these things, it focuses you back on your core values.
Love that. And I'm happy that you mentioned the word have to, because I've been working on that. And that is something that I got like last year, November, that I don't have to do anything. I either choose to do it or I get to do it. So, and it's amazing that the slight shift in words, how it just makes you feel a lot lighter. Because if I think about it, if I have to do something, I feel forced, I feel pressured, I feel burdened. But when I think of the fact that I am choosing to do this thing, or I get to do it, it now puts a whole different spin on it. And we use the example, we're talking about bills. I have to pay, I have to work. Why do you have? Because I have to pay my bills. No, you get to work. It's a wonderful opportunity that you have. And because you are working, you get to pay the bills that provide you with food, light, shelter, the different things. So it's amazing how the slight shift in words can make a big difference. And then, as you said, it gets you to examine your why. If I'm choosing to write these emails, why am I choosing to do it? I'm choosing to do it because I want to make an impact in the world. It now even enables you to connect with your why. And even when you're writing your copy, as you say, your words might be different, and how you're connecting with people is just completely different. So I'm loving that. And I hope as entrepreneurs, you're taking your notes. I mean, these are just some wonderful gems. So we have discussed, perfectionism and procrastination. really, if so you just shared with us that we can write that sentence down. So if an entrepreneur wants to succeed, how do they manage their fear? You know, we say it and it's probably not as easy. How do they manage their fear and breaking out and feeling, you know, I'm going to go ahead even if it's a little messy?
Yeah. So part of learning to manage our fear of failure, our fear of being an imposter, and getting out of that cycle of procrastination, it's learning to focus on the process and not the outcome. And
Mm.
so, like you said, I have to focus on just the next steps instead of looking at that huge mountain and being like, I'm never going to reach the top, right? And there are lots of different things. I just want to say, like, learning to focus on the process and not just the outcome, there are lots of different ways you can get at it. One way that I'd like to share with you guys today is just the 4 questions to help you step out of fear and confusion. You ask yourself these 4 questions every single time you find yourself getting stuck. The first one is, does it matter? So I'll give the example. You know how like the elevator pitch, right? A lot of entrepreneurs like, what's your elevator pitch? You got 30 seconds to tell someone what you do. What is it, right? And I've seen so many people of like, I don't know what to say and it's not perfect and I don't have it memorized and do I need to memorize it? And they're so worried about the words and getting it done just perfectly that they're actually really anxious going to networking events and being afraid of stumbling on their words and getting it wrong. And they're showing up in this place of anxiety. And so that first question is, does it really matter? Does it really matter if you have all the perfect words in your elevator pitch? Someone might say, well, yeah, because if I say it wrong, then they're going to think I'm an idiot. And I'm like, okay, does it really matter if that one person is kind of a jerk and judged you right off the bat based on that? And they're like, well, when you put it that way, no, I guess it doesn't really matter. So it's just that little like checkpoint, hit the pause button, whatever it is you're worried about, does this really matter? The second question, right, is what's the worst that can happen? Now, I love this question because a perfectionist, we like to spin our wheels in confusion. Well, I don't know, this could happen or that could happen. And then if I don't do this, it could be X, Y, and Z. And we just want to spin our wheels on all the different possibilities, all the ways things can go wrong. And just, it creates so much stress and anxiety. And when you ask yourself, what's the worst that can happen? What you're doing is you're forcing your brain to make a decision. If I go to this networking event and my elevator pitch isn't ready 100%, what's the worst that can happen? Now you've imagined an action, a decision, and that's actually a really important step, to step out of confusion and make a decision. What's the action? What's the worst that can happen? I stumble on my words and they laugh at me. Okay.
Yes.
Third question, if that happens, can I handle it? Right? Can I handle it? I'm like, I would like to think so. I'm a grown-up woman. Maybe I need to go to the bathroom and recompose myself. Maybe I need to call a girlfriend and get a little bit of support. But what I'm doing here now with this question is I am focusing on my skills. If that happens, can I handle it? Yeah, I can take a break. I can call for support. I can go back and look up some notes I made on my phone. I'm focusing on what I can do rather than spinning my wheels on things that are outside of my control. And then the fourth question is this going to matter tomorrow or a year from now? And this is how you get centered once again on your purpose. If you're a purpose driven, like, what is my purpose? Is this going to matter tomorrow? Maybe. I might feel a little embarrassed. A year from now? Probably not. What's going to matter a year from now is that I'm making the connections I need to make to get my message across to the people who need to hear it. And so I have my clients write these 4 questions down, and every time they're procrastinating, they're getting stuck, they feel that fear coming up inside of them, I tell them, pull out a piece of paper and work through these questions. It's a way to slow yourself down. And again, take your mind off that long-term outcome and really focus on the process. What do I need to do right now as the next step?
Wow. I hope you guys wrote that down because I can think of, as you speak, so many times that I've been in that state where I'm just like, oh my God, you know, I can't do this. And I start thinking of, you know, a lot of things that could happen. It's almost like I've created the end and I haven't even started. And, you know, I was working with a client the other day, just organizing her schedule because she's not meeting her goals because her schedule is just a mess. And just the fact that I said to her, okay, we're going to put these things on the calendar her chest was tightening up. It's like she was just so anxious about it because it's something that she's fearful of doing, and because of that, she keeps putting it off, and it just doesn't happen. So when you talk, and I can think of things that I've wanted to do, and I'm like, even doing a video. I share this so many times with with persons I talk to, that I might do a video that I'm posting on social media, and I sit, and by the time I'm finished criticizing and scrutinizing the video, it never sees the light of day, and I'm just like, it's just about the message. It's about what people want to hear. So I love these 4 questions. Does it matter? What's the worst that can happen? And if the worst happen, then what? I also did an exercise the other day. We were talking about fear, and they asked us to just say, okay, it happens and you die. I'm like, I'm not gonna die. They're like, exactly. You're not going to die. Handle it. So focus on your skills, guys. What will you do if the worst that you think happens? What will you do? And will it matter to tomorrow or years from now? And those are amazing questions to get us unstuck. And that's what we're talking about in this conference. You're an entrepreneur, you have purpose within you, you want to drive to your results, you want success. However, you feel as though you have to have the end result right before you even start. So I'm loving that. So in our conversation, Camila, one of the things that you had mentioned to me, which really stuck with me, is about confusion. Mm-hmm. And how, we hold into that and don't make a decision. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, confusion, I think of it as like a psychological defense, because even though it's really uncomfortable to stay in a place of confusion, as long as I'm in confusion, I don't have to take the risks that come with taking action. As soon as I take action, now I am risking failing. I'm risking being judged. I'm risking getting it wrong. I'm risking having to go back and do it all over again. And that's really scary. So as long as I stay in this confusion of like, well, I don't know what to do. Should I do Instagram ads or Facebook ads? Or maybe I shouldn't do any of those. Maybe I need to focus on TikTok. But actually, what if I'm wasting all my energy on this? And actually, I just really need to focus on the emails. That's where, as long as I stay confused, I never actually have to take action. So it is a psychological defense. It is serving us in a way that it's protecting us from feeling the anxiety that comes with making a decision and moving forward. And unfortunately, right, the cure for that is to get practiced, to expose ourselves to the anxiety that comes with making those decisions, and just get better and better at dealing with it. So you gave the example with the videos, and I can relate to that one too. And so I, like for myself, I'm a perfectionist in recovery. All right, you guys, it takes one to know one. And so I created a Facebook group just for me. And I would practice going live on that Facebook group just to expose myself to, I did a live video. I can't change it. It's done and it's there. But I knew it was just me in the Facebook group. And I just needed to get that out of my system to deal with the anxiety of being on live. And once I did that a few times, I then had more courage to go on the actual Facebook group in front of everyone and do the lives. But yeah, like don't beat yourself up for the confusion, but just recognize it for what it is. It's a defense. You're trying to protect yourself from the anxiety of taking action and maybe getting it wrong. This is why a lot of people second guess, and they second guess every single decision. Again, the hope is if I second guess everything, I am going to figure it out and I'm going to get it just right. And really, you're just wasting all this time and you're not moving forward.
I love that you created a Facebook group just for yourself. It's the first time hearing that one. And, a few weeks ago as well, I started going live in my Facebook group because of what I kept doing. When I do the video and I say I'm going to post the video, it never sees the light of day. And so I decided I'm going to do a live. And when I do the live, it's there. Mark you, I do go back and watch it sometime. And I'm like, but I'm just like, no, I'm going to do the live. And while you were talking, one of the things that came to my mind is that if we are honest and open about how we're feeling, to say, you know what, guys, I've been wanting to do a live for a while, but I'm just scared. Is there anyone out there who is scared with me? You would be surprised how many persons jump on board and be like, yes, that's me, or yes, that's how I'm feeling. So it's really important. And I'm happy we're having this conversation because this is what I hear so often from persons. And it's good that we're now able to understand, why am I stuck in confusion? Why am I procrastinating? It's not that I don't want to do it. It's just that I'm trying to make it perfect, and I have no guarantee that it's going to be perfect. And I am not my results. So therefore, if I'm not my results, let me just get this step down. This is what I'm doing. I'm focusing on the step that I'm in, and I'm going to do just what I want to do now. So I'm loving it. So as I'm asking my experts this question, as an entrepreneur, what is the most important question that one should ask themselves? And I know you probably would have shared some already, but is there anything else that entrepreneurs should ask themselves?
Yeah, I just want to throw this one last question in there for you to ask yourself. And that is, am I tying my self-worth to my ability to achieve? If the answer is yes, you need to stop and take a step back and reevaluate why. Because if we tie our self-worth based on our ability to achieve, it is never going to be good enough. That is a game you will never win, because it doesn't matter how much you achieve. There's always going to be someone else who has a little bit more, a little bit better, or you're imagined, like you imagine yourself even better or even more. It's a game you can't win. And so if you're stuck on that, like, I'm so afraid to put myself out there because if I don't get it done perfectly, people are going to think I'm not good enough. It's not about you. I love how you kept saying, I am not my results. I love that mantra. And I also like to remind people, like, you know what? Being your human self, even if it's messy and imperfect, is how people relate to us.
Yes.
I don't know how many of you guys know Oprah, but Oprah was on stage and she tripped and fell. And I remember seeing it, it kind of went viral. And I'm like, oh, she's human like me. I love her even more, right? It's like, I love her even more because I saw that she is human like me. And so it's really, we get stuck in this idea that we have to be perfect and get it just right. But that actually creates distance between us and the clients we're trying to serve. And so to really learn to like not hold on to that so tightly and be able to recognize my worth is not tied to how successful I am in my business. My worth is tied just to being me. And that's what people are going to connect to. And that's how I'm going to serve my clients the best.
Thank you so much, Dr. Camila. And I hope you guys are really allowing this to sink in, because as an entrepreneur, you wake up every day and you are thinking about results. You're thinking about, how much am I going to earn? How am I going to earn it? And I need to do these things to get it. And if the business failed, then I'm a failure. But no, you're not. You still exist. You went ahead and you tried out this new thing. You tried out this new business venture. It never worked. But think about how you have grown throughout that process, how much you have learned, how many relationships you would have formed, how many lives you would have impacted. And I hope that you're able to get something from this. I absolutely love this conversation. I loved it from the minute I had that short talk with Camila, because it's good when you're able to understand the psychological impact of how we make decisions and why we do the things that we do. And when you know it, you can identify. We're not saying it's not going to happen again. We're not saying you're not going to procrastinate or you're not going to be confused. But when you do, you can stop yourself and say, oh, you know what? I'm doing this because I don't want to make a decision. What is the decision I need to make? And make it quick and make it fast. So thank you so much for sharing with us, Dr. Camila. And as I shared with you earlier, she has her practice and work that she does. And I'm going to give her an opportunity to share with us what she does, what she's offering you today and how it is that you're able to access that.
So I have a Facebook group that I'll do live coaching with people. If you have questions, I always invite people to find me there in the group or on Instagram with kind of any questions. And the free offer I have for you guys is I have a guidebook. It's actually like a PDF guidebook that has all those 4 questions that we talked about today. It has all the explanations on why I asked those questions, several examples, and a blank worksheet that you could print so that you have it on hand as a reminder whenever you find yourself getting stuck and spinning your wheels. So I'd like to offer that to you guys. And then I did offer Michelle, I do have a couple of spots for a free consultation. And because I only have a few slots, I do have an application form. If you're really interested in it, you just hit the link and apply for it, and I'll get you scheduled, and I can kind of help you kind of zone in on where you're getting stuck and what are some steps you can take to move forward.
Awesome. I'm loving it. I'm loving it, guys. You don't want to miss it. So right below this video, go ahead and hit the link, apply, download the free ebook so you can ask yourself the question. And even if you need more clarity, as she said, there's an explanation and there are examples, and then you can join her Facebook group and also complete that application so you can get a free consultation. So thank you so much, Dr. Camila, for being with us today as our expert. Truly, truly loving this interview. And I'm sure we'll be doing more work together in the future.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure being here.
Thank you.